Eventide's new Anthology 12 bundle features over 30 plugins, including reverbs, delays, EQs, modulation, and more. With so many plugins to choose from, I wanted to show you 5 plugins that I use in my mixing and mastering studio daily. Before we do get started, please make sure to like and subscribe if you find this video helpful. Let's go. Alright guys, we're going to be checking out this song called Venom by Rhea. It's a great tune. You can check her out on Spotify, Apple Music, and all that. And I'll be showing you the 5 different plugins that I've used on this mix, all by Eventide. The first one is the split EQ, and if you don't know about this plugin, you should. I'm going to actually put a link to my full review of it so you guys can see an in-depth tutorial about it. But what I did here is I just cut some low end, which is pretty normal, quite a bit. And then I boosted just the transients. So like I said, check out the review, but you can split your frequency ranges between tonal and transients. And what that does is allows me to boost just like the transients of the air, but not the full thing, which can sometimes make it harsh. So let me play this vocal soloed, and then you guys can hear what it did.
You know it, but you're too good to show it. You know it, but you're too good to show it. Your ego is shameless, but you better learn how to tame it.
So you can hear, it was just like, the low cut's obviously there, but just that air that came out from just using that transient side. And then of course I also cut back a little bit of the tonal side in the 3K range, just to kind of pull that back a bit. So fantastic EQ. I've been using this on drums a lot too, and I'm starting to try it on masters here and there, and it's actually working really well. So this is my go-to #1 plugin for Eventide. All right, guys, second plugin is MicroPitch. This is one of Eventide's go-to plugins. It was on the H3500, which was their big main stage box. Back in the day when I first started working in the studios, I would always see that H3500. I thought it was the coolest box in the room, and it would have some of the coolest sounds you could get. So what MicroPitch basically does is it just pitches either side a little bit, and you get kind of the doubling or chorus sound effect. How I use it is I have a couple different presets. I usually actually start off just factory default. And what I'll do is I'll send the vocal to it and just crank it up and hear what it's doing and then pull it back.
You know it, but you're too good to show it. Your ego is shameless, but you better learn how to tame it. You know it, but you're too good to show it. Your ego.
And what I'll do is I'll turn it on, mute it on and off, and what I'm looking for is I want to hear it, but I don't want to hear it. And it's one of those type effects. And so it will give my vocal a bit of width, but not stand out too much. And then I have a couple other variations, and they have a bunch of great presets in this plugin too. But I have wider, which is basically like default, except wider. And I'll go back and forth so you guys can hear the difference.
You know it, but you're too good to show it. Your ego is shameless.
So wider just sounds a bit bigger. It's a little more modulated. If you want to push it a little more, that's what it's for. I also use this one from time to time, just as like a lead vocal kind of reverb delay. And so check this out.
You know it, but you're too good to show it. Your ego is shameless, but you better learn how to tame it.
So I use this setting sometimes. If I don't want too much reverb, or it's a really busy mix and the reverb is going to cloud everything up, I'll use that instead of maybe a hall or a plate or something like that. So MicroPitch, you can do a ton with it. It has all these other effects you can come up with that are like really far out there if you're looking for that kind of sound. So definitely check out MicroPitch. All right, guys, the third plugin is the SP2016 Reverb. This thing is a classic. It's been on so many records, Mariah Carey records that Mick mixed, Dave Pissato, the GOAT, has used this on a ton of records, and I actually use a lot of Dave's presets on here and then just adjust them to taste. So I use this a lot for my actual room reverb. And you can see I'm actually using Dave's thing, but I've tweaked it a little bit. It's called the MH Room now. And let me just play it for you guys so you guys can hear what it's doing.
You know it, but you're too good to show it. Your ego is shameless, but you better learn how to tame it.
So I use the room much like I use the micro. I push it up and then dial it back a bit until I hear it, but it's not taking out too much room. Both the room and the micro effects I use for width and space and just to make the vocals sound big and amazing, but not take up too much room in the mix. So that is the reverb setting I use. I also have this, which is MH Vox, or MH Big Vox, and this can be used kind of as a hall sound, and this sounds amazing. Let me play this for you.
You know it, but you're too good to show it. Your ego is shameless, boy, you better learn how to tame it. You know it, but you're too good to show it. Your ego is shameless, boy, you better learn how to tame it.
As you can see, I pushed up the pre-delay a bit just to give it a little more space, but that thing works great as halls. This reverb you could actually use for all your reverb needs, but it just has a sound to it. What I like about the SP2016 is that it never feels like it really gets in the way. It just sounds great. And some reverbs I'll be like, I hear the reverb and it's annoying me, but this one always just sounds good. You don't have to tweak it too much. A lot of times all I'll do is just turn down the high gain a bit because it can get a little bright. But yeah, super great reverb. Use it for my rooms all the time. All right, guys, the fourth one I use quite a bit and still working on vocals here is the black hole. I use this as a really spaced out reverb effect. So I only put it on certain words. And you could use this for synth parts or drums even too. If you really want that big reverb sound, this is what I use for it. Actually, one day I was watching some Chris Lordology tutorial and he put this on and I'm like, that's the reverb I've been looking for. That's the one when those certain vocal moments you want just to stand out big time. This is what it's for. So if you don't know how I do my delay throws, I will put a link in the video I just dropped showing you how I do my delay throws. But what I'll do is I will bounce down the vocal after it's fully mixed and then I'll import it and then I'll have it just so I can drag down the delays. And so I'll do that like this. And so the track's gone now, but this would, above this would have been all the vocals, the stereo track of all the vocals, or all the lead vocals. And I'll drag it down wherever I want something. So if you see here, I have the black hole, and then I also have this delay into an EQ, into a reverb. So they're both going. And sometimes I'll just use one, sometimes I can use two, and I have more effects in my template, and I can drag certain things to make it sound cool. So check this out, what it sounds like with the black hole and the delay, and then I'll show it to you just with a black hole. So cool, it was a real moment right there, and it was like everything moved, and it's saying the name of the song, Venom, and everything floats away, and then it goes to the next part, which is the second verse. So this is what it sounds like. I'll solo the black hole really quick. So it's this crazy wide moving reverb, and it just sounds great, and you can make this thing go forever. You can tweak it however you want. I usually just have the preset setting, and then I'll mess with the gravity and the size depending on how big I want it to sound. So this is I just love this plugin for doing reverb throws. All right, guys, for the last plugin, we're gonna move over to like the synth sounds or guitar sounds, whatever you wanna use this on. This is kind of a go-to plugin I use for synths and guitars and things that just need a little extra love. And what it is the Eventide Ultra channel, and it has tons of features on it. It has a gate, it has a compressor, it has an oppressor, which is a piece of the omnipressor, which is a fantastic compressor by Eventide, and then has a 5-band EQ. And then here's the part which I really like about it. It has MicroPitch shift built into it along with a stereo delay. So what I can do with this is I can EQ the synth a bit, usually just cutting off some lows, getting some of that noise that we don't need out, or if you need to pull down some mid-range, whatever it is. And then I add some micro shift and some delay, and it will give the synth some movement. So check this synth out without this on here. So it's cool. It's already got reverb printed onto it, so you don't want to do too much. But by putting micro shift and a little delay, it will help it move more, but not get it muddy in reverb. So check it out. So you can hear when I turned it on, it livened everything up and it just started moving much more. So this is a killer plugin. Use it for synths, guitars. You can use it for vocals and all that too, and it sounds good. Sometimes I will use this like on ad-libs or backgrounds where I want them to sound a bit different, and I can compress them and EQ them and put a little delay and micro shift on them, micro pitch on it, and it will sound really good. So a great channel strip for you guys to play with. All right, guys, so those are the 5 Eventide plugins I use on a lot of my mixes. Let me know what your favorites are in the comments below. If you need your songs mixed and mastered, hit me up at mixandmastermysong.com. You can also find my course and preset there as well. Talk to you soon.